Today we're talking fluid maintenance. It's one of those basic but critical things if you own a vehicle and you want to ensure that it is running well. Items needed for your oil change include engine oil. In my case, it's 5W30. An oil filter, I use a Mobil1, so it's an M1-107. But if you're using AC Delco, it's a PF46 or a PF46E. You're going to need an oil funnel, an oil drain pan, a 15mm socket with a ratchet, or a 15mm wrench. You'll also need a medium-sized oil filter wrench. We begin by opening the hood and removing the oil filler cap. This allows air to come in, so when we're draining the oil, it just drains a little bit faster. And just before this, I took the truck for a drive for about 10 minutes just to warm up the engine oil, so it will drain as quickly as possible. So here we are underneath the vehicle. I find it's easiest to basically slide in underneath the vehicle from just in front of the driver's side door and behind the driver's side wheel. You're going to see the 15mm oil filter drain bolt is right there, and my Mobil1 oil filter is right here. So we're going to grab the ratchet, we're going to remove this drain bolt. As you can see, I've got a drain pan here, so the oil can drain into it, and then at the same time we're going to remove the oil filter. And I probably forgot to mention, but it does go without saying that you're going to need some rags for this or some shop towels. I'm going to try to do this one-handed because I'm holding the camera in the other hand, and so I apologize if the video is shaky. Anyway, I'm just going to break free that socket. Going to bring the drain pan underneath. It's kind of at a bit of an angle. It's going to come out, but it's not going to drip directly downwards. And I just push against the drain bolt while I'm loosening it so the oil doesn't come spewing out just yet. Okay, once it's ready to come out, just open it up. And you can see it's draining into the oil drain pan. So put that bolt on one of your rags, where I can pull the oil pan underneath the oil filter. I'm going to start removing the oil filter. Okay, so it's got a steady drip going on now. I can move the oil pan a little bit closer and underneath the filter. And here's the oil filter wrench. It's, like I said, it's kind of a medium-sized one. Try to do this with one hand. Alright, once you've loosened it with the oil filter wrench, you can then unscrew it by hand. And yes, more oil is going to come out, so again, those shop rags are going to come in handy. So once it's off, kind of dump the oil into there. And then while this is draining, I'm going to go grab the new oil filter and get it ready to put back on. Okay, so to get your new oil filter ready, here it is. All I'm going to do is I'm going to dip my finger into the old motor oil. And again, I'm doing this one-handed, so doing my best here. I'm just going to, basically I want to get oil on the gasket here. So I'm just going to give it a wipe while I'm at it here. Just going to wipe all this stuff, whoops. Okay, and I'm going to put the oil filter back on here. So you just thread it on by hand and just screw it back on. I'm just going to tighten it as much as I can by hand. You really don't want to over tighten the oil filters. So there, that's about as tight as I'm going to be able to get it by hand, and that should be sufficient. This has got a steady drip going on here. You can let it drip longer if you like. I'm not that patient. I'm just going to take a quick look at this drain bolt. It's got a gasket on there, and it seems to be in good shape, so I'm just going to give it a wipe, and then I'm going to reinstall that. So once it's on there, I'm just going to wipe a little bit underneath and around it. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to hand tighten it. Now if you want to know the torque specs on this, it's 18 foot-pounds, which is just kind of hand tightened. That's it. Don't over tighten it, and don't over tighten the oil filter. Now we're going to go up top and add the oil back in. Okay, time to add engine oil.
You'll notice this oil funnel that I've got. Years and years ago I started doing oil changes. I needed a funnel. I didn't have one. Everything was closed at the time. And so I found a 2-liter bottle. I cut it open and it became my funnel. And quite honestly, I've been using it for years. I actually want to get a proper funnel. But this has just been here over and over, and it just seems to make sense to keep using it. So here, I'll fill it up. I work in a mechanic shop part-time. And so the head mechanic there, I think is totally smart, but I'm sure everybody thinks that about their head mechanic. He just knows so much, and I've learned from him that, you know what, having the right tool is extremely important, but also being resourceful and figuring things out is actually equally important, especially in the automotive mechanic trade. And so I think about this oil filter. Is it the right tool? You know, there's obviously a better one you can get. You can get one that fits in here. It's much more stable. But obviously this one's working for me. So the Chevy Silverado takes 5.5 liters of oil. I just tend to use conventional oil, 5W30. I like Pennzoil. I've been using the Mobil1 filters for a long time. This truck's got 320,000 kilometers on it. So I'm basically just giving it motor oil and a new filter every 3 months, 5,000 kilometers or so. And that works for me, so I'm just going to keep on doing that. So after I've got the 5 liters in there, I'm going to fire it up. I'm going to idle it a little bit, rev it up, and then I'm going to top it off from there. All right, pretty low as expected. So time to add another 500 milliliters. And that's basically how you perform an oil change on a 2006 Chevy Silverado. Remember to put the oil cap back on. Check underneath for leaks. Get rid of the old oil, and you're all done. Well, I hope this video was helpful. If you have any questions, please leave a comment. If it was helpful, remember to like the video and let me know. And lastly, don't forget to subscribe and get notified of all of our newest do-it-yourself and tool review videos. Thanks for watching.